All right. Good evening, everybody. My name is Chris Rogers. I'm a faculty member in the School of Engineering and Technology, and I'm also a faculty fellow with the Institute for Engaged Learning at IUPUI. And this is JagStart 2022. I'm glad you all can join us this evening. I decided to dress up tonight. I'm wearing my wonderful office shirt. I realized that if I didn't wear a shirt, I would become a floating head, which might be kind of creepy and odd. So I thought, why not dress up? So thanks so much for joining us this evening. Before we get started with our presentations tonight, I'm going to start by introducing our judges. So with us this evening, giving us their gracious time, we have Dr. Jerry Today. Dr. Today is the Executive Associate Dean and the Director for the Institute for Engaged Learning at IUPUI. Chelsea Marburger is a Senior Manager for Entrepreneurial Programming for a VC firm here in Indianapolis, Elevate Ventures. And Dr. Gabriel Grenier is the assistant researcher. He's an assistant research professor of medicine with the School of Medicine with Indiana University. And along with myself, my co-host, Dr. Miss Barb Cutillo. Barb, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, thanks, Chris. Hi, everybody. I'm Barb Cutillo. I'm a professor at Kelly at IUPUI, and I teach entrepreneurship, management, leadership, and I've got along with Professor Rogers, we work on and help promote innovation and sharing new ideas. And so we're super excited to have you see some of the things our students have been working on, and we're super excited for the judges to see it as well. And there's, really some great prizes for everybody. So thanks for joining.
Yeah, so this should be a fun event. You're going to get to hear about some great innovations from IUPUI students and why our students really are the best in the state of Indiana. So before we get started, I'm going to talk a little bit about the process and how this is going to work. So each team is going to get to present for up to 5 minutes maximum. They're going to introduce themselves as well as present their pitch. If there is time at the completion of the evening, there will be a Q&A opportunity for judges to ask questions. But I also do know that judges have some time constraints, so this may not happen. The judges will then be given the opportunity and asked to review the pitches and provide their results by April 22nd. So unfortunately for our participants, they're not going to hear who the results are tonight, but they will soon. Then there will be audience voting. So what will happen is you'll be able to go to jagstart.iupui.edu, and you will be able to watch the pitches yourself and cast your vote. Voting is going to open April 24th, and it's going to go through May 7th. So there's a little bit of time for you to do the vote, but get your vote in. What's going to happen then is we're going to have a grand prize winner, and we're also going to have an audience vote winner. So the grand prize winner, that team will get $2,500, and the audience vote will get $1,500. And they will also get featured by IUPUI Communications and get featured on jagstart.iupui.edu. That's a lot of information in a short period of time, but you're obviously not here to hear me talk. So the teams that are presenting tonight that have worked hard on these concepts are Happy Heart, Educam, Fiducation, Deco AR, Feel the Field, Optimal Nutrition, Vent Easy, and What the Ball's Here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually stop sharing my screen here, and I'm going to allow Happy Heart to take over, and you have 5 minutes to present your idea. Good luck, everybody.
Thank you, Dr. Rogers. Can everyone see my screen okay? Great. So we're going to get started.
Look, we all know that the doctor's office can be a scary place, especially if you are a young child getting an EKG. But don't worry, we have the problem in hand. With the first handheld pediatric heart rhythm monitor developed in coordination with the IUPUI Department of Biomedical Engineering and a pediatric cardiologist at the IU School of Medicine, the Happy Heart. Traditional EKGs are clinical tests that detect heart rhythm, rate, and defects with 10 uncomfortable adhesive electrodes adhered to a patient's skin. The problem is They take around 10 minutes of a doctor's time to administer and require patient stillness, which we all know is hard for kids. And the kid's movement, distraction, and stress during a reading can result in inconclusive data, which may lead a doctor to an inaccurate diagnosis. To combat the need for adhesive electrodes and specialized, potentially scary machines, companies like AliveCor have developed simple handheld EKGs like the Cardia seen here, with FDA-approved diagnostic software free from discomforting adhesive electrodes. But the Cardia requires 30 seconds of stillness to acquire data, and children struggle to stay still for long enough, creating a need for something more child-friendly. To meet this need, our solution is to integrate the Cardia into a durable antibacterial 3D printed shell that has the ability to hold a phone that maintains pediatric patient attention with their favorite cartoon. While the patient enjoys their cartoon of choice, a 30-second FDA-approved EKG is run by simply holding onto the handles that conduct the patient's heartbeat to the Cardia, with the handles shaped to be ergonomically optimal and comfortable for the hand of a 2 to 10-year-old. Additionally, in consideration of a young child's strength, the entire prototype, including an iPhone 13 as an example for weight, and the Cardia weighs only 1.36 pounds, or roughly an equivalent weight to a basketball.
So here's how it works. On the left, we have our anatomically correct 5-year-old patient who is firmly gripping the prototype in either hand. The electrical signal from their heart travels down their arms, into their hands, and then finally into our prototype through the conductive grips shown in black. All the while, the patient gets to enjoy their favorite cartoon, whether that be Baby Shark or SpongeBob SquarePants. Meanwhile, on the right, there is a live recording of the patient's EKG being sent to the doctor's phone. They get to see every single beat of the patient happen in real time. After the 30-second test, the app will classify our patient and the current state that they're in this case, normal sinus rhythm. Now, this is a really cool theoretical product, but our group actually went a step further and created a physical prototype that we were able to do verification and extensive durable testing on. I actually have it here on my screen, as you can see, with my phone currently loaded. But we recognize that this is a business competition, so of course, you guys all want to see the cost analysis. So it costs about $25 to 3D print the shell and lid, $8 for the conductive grips, and about $4 for all the screws and wiring, totaling an ultimate amount of about $37. Now, this may be a slightly higher upfront manufacturing cost, but the medical technology industry is quite a lucrative one. For example, the average cost of an EKG for a patient before insurance in the US is about $800, with about 9.4 million pediatric EKGs administered each year. This results in a yearly profit of EKG tests of about $7.5 billion. With all of these thoughts into consideration, we plan to charge the consumer about $200 for our product. This is a mere fraction of the cost of a traditional large EKG machine, which can be upwards of tens of thousands of dollars. We plan to target clinics and doctors' offices that have a higher budget for medical technology that's up and coming. With that, we thank you for your attention, and we are Happy Heart, making hearts happy and EKGs snappy. We welcome your questions at the end of this presentation slideshow.
Thank you, Happy Heart. I appreciate you taking the time to put that together. Very interesting. You've spent a lot of time on this concept. Up next is Educam.
Can everyone see my screen? Good evening, everyone. I'm here to present Educam. So for students who are transitioning into a new academic or professional phase, our product is a camp that facilitates students to get hands-on experience and understand the reality of the job. This is our team. I'm Yukta. I have 2 years of experience in starting and managing 2 businesses back in India. And I would like to thank my advisor, Professor Lee Lindsay. The problem that we are looking at is that the current avenues that help students make career decisions are quite theoretical and statistical. Like aptitude tests, these are time-bound tests that lead to a lot of test anxiety, and they don't really measure a student's soft skills. Similarly, the colleges, school, summer camps, they have a cutoff GPA, and they are specific to a particular career path. And finally, social media has made certain careers seem cool, which has led students to gravitate towards that. So presenting Educam. It's a 2-month immersive educational experience. Here, the students come to the camp location for around 2 months. They can choose up to 5 career experiences that they would want to try out. And every day, the students are put into real life scenarios of that particular field. So, for example, if a student chooses fashion designing, on day 1, they learn how to pick up material, how to pick up pattern, how to sew, how to use the machine, and finally, how to release their garment out in the market. They work on this under the guidance of a trained professional who can either be a part-time professional or a retired professional who has a lot of experience in this field. We also help them build their soft skills. So while they are here during those months, we probe them to make presentations, communicate with their peers and learn how to network. And finally, we've seen that even amongst my peers, we saw that students get financially aware very late in their lives. And so we will push them to, learn how to use your salary right and how to do the savings and investing and all of that. So the market size right now is there are around 35.5 million students currently in colleges and high schools who are transitioning into a new field. And around 80% of the students we interviewed said that they are disgruntled with the current career guidance methods. The current aptitude testing domain is a $12.32 billion market, and that's the market that we will be looking at. And also the market size of career counseling currently is a $15.3 billion market. So when you look at our competitors, there is a company called Envision Experience that does an experience-based learning program, but it's a dedicated focus and the student needs to know what they want to master and what they want to do in their lives before they can sign up for it. Similarly, online courses do exist for multiple fields, but it lacks accountability. Like so many of us have signed up for online courses, but how many of us actually end up finishing them? So Educam over here hits the sweet spot. While looking at the business model, the way it will work is that if students sign up for 2 experiences, they come to the camp for a month and they pay around $2,000. If they sign up for 3 experiences, we throw in 1 extracurricular experience for free and it costs around $2,700 and they come in for 1.5 months. Finally, if they purchase 4 experiences, they get 1 experience for free. It's a 2-month program and it costs around $3,500. And this price is I've taken into consideration the competitors currently in the market, and it's a comparable price. We will be marketing it through the college or high school counselors and ambassadors because they already have students coming to them for advice about their career guidance. The professionals who we bring on, if they're influential in their field, we can market this towards their followers. And for sales, it will be through college tie-up programs, through high school and college advice websites like Yokit, and finally through the Educam's website. The way that we're looking at it is that in year 1, we would like to bring in domain specialists on board. We can structure the first draft of the courses and conduct focus groups and mock runs with the target group. We finalize the course in year 2. We begin our first sales marketing and we begin the sales. And we approach colleges and universities to try to validate this course. So hopefully students can get extra credit for this experience. Finally, in year 3, we move to stage 2 of marketing. We expand the course domain and we try to, bring on more students. The current ask would be around $25,000. The reason being, we need around $15,000 for the course development and professional onboarding, and $10,000 for the marketing and advertising and the infrastructure setup. But yes, thank you so much.
Thank you, Yukta, and thank you for presenting Educam to us. So we appreciate the time. Up next, we have Fiducation.
Hello, can you guys hear us?
Hello.
Hello, are we audible?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So this is our product. We are Team Education. So our product is basically a tool to help students with ADHD in their academic endeavors. That's about the gist of it. This is the team. My name is Nash Farkani, and this is my teammate Tinku. So let's talk about the problem. So first of all, students with ADHD, they are basically unable to focus in class. They have this fidgety nature, so they keep getting distracted quite often. And because of this, they end up sort of missing out on the important points that are covered in class. So that leads to them facing a lot of educational drawbacks, which is like getting suspended and getting expelled from school, which at the moment accounts for approximately 50% of all the students with ADHD. So as you can see, it's a pretty massive problem. This is our solution, Fiducation. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to channel this whole fidgeting nature to a more academic, a more fruitful area. So what this product will do is basically it'll be a fidget cube. It will have a microphone and a transcription software inbuilt in it. So whenever the student starts playing with the tool will start recording the lecture and then start sort of noting down the missed parts. So when the student goes back, they can revise all the parts that they missed out on. So basically, it's just a revision tool that sort of aids them in their whole academic endeavors. So as you can see, the first and primary feature here is the note-taking aspect of it. It records the entire lecture and then marks out the points where the student lost attention. Next, there's application notifications, where the students at the end of the day, they get a notification talking about how often they missed focus in class, and that they can sort of take that as a metric to see what to cover up again. And then the last one is tracking the frequency of distractions. So since we have the number of times the student lost focus in class, this can be used by the doctors and the people who are treating the student to gauge the effectiveness of the treatments that they're going. So basically, they can see how often the student is missing focus and then how that is varying over time. Now, let's talk about the market size. 1 in every 10 kids has ADHD. So approximately 9.4% of the entire population of the country has ADHD. And out of this, we are looking at the 3.3 million students who are aged from 12 years to 17 years. And looking at the educational market in general, that's approximately a $20.74 billion market. And one thing to note here is that raising a child with ADHD costs approximately 5 times more than raising a child without ADHD. So as you can see, it's a pretty unique problem area. Now to talk about the competitors, handing it over to Kathy.
So unlike the other note-taking applications in the market and the habit trackers, which do not give the real-time insights, our product actually helps parents and teachers know about the time period where the student has lost focus and then helps them track it. So our competitors would be fidget toys, prescribed treatments, and current education system, because Fidgecation kind of overlaps and covers the aspects of all of these. Now, why Fidgecation is different? Because Fidgecation takes the natural fidgeting nature of these students and then tries to build an academic assistance and progress based on that, rather than coming up with ways to cure attention deficiency. Now, business model, the cost of one fidget cube, and we're calling it a smart cube, it would be somewhere around $100, which consists of $10 for the cube and the toy itself, $20 for the application development, the additional hardwares and the softwares like the gyrometers, the gyroscope, the accelerometer, and IoT devices. It will cost around $20, and somewhere around $10 for the sales and marketing. The rest, $40, would be our profit margin. Our marketing channels mainly would be the magazines, which are dedicated towards spreading awareness related to ADHD, which are CHADD and Attitude. They primarily connect students and people who are in need of certain resources and let them know about the new products that are being launched in the market. For sales, our primary options are online stores like Amazon and Walmart, and we'll be selling them in the retail as well. So 3-year. Yep, our 3-year milestone goals, 3-year milestones. Second, there's some technical issues. Japan, we're back. So for year 1, we're trying to launch a first working prototype. And based on the testings and the reviews that we'll get, by the end of the year 2, we'll be trying to expand beyond the cubes, beyond the cube, and we'll try to cover up all the existing fidgeting toys that are there in the market, and we'll try to turn them into the smart toys so that they could be used for these kind of academic assistance. By the end of the year 3, we are targeting to manufacture the product and then launch them in the retails for the public usage. So what are we asking for today? We're asking for $20,000, out of which $5,000 is for equipment, and the rest $15,000 will go into product development and testing, which will consist of the courses such as Arduino and other things that we'll need to learn how the product might be assembled and how a product will actually work. Then the different iterations that will take place and testing and the feedbacks. And it will also cover some of the logistics that will be required to deliver these products. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fidgecation. Thank you for your time. What we're going to do is we're a little bit ahead of schedule, so we're going to allow the judges the opportunity to ask some questions right now for the first 3 presenters. And if there's no questions, that's okay. We can continue to move on.
I wanted to ask, great presentations. I'm really impressed. It's a great start. Interesting ideas and a lot of good information on the slides. Just wanted to ask the last group if they did consult with a psychiatrist or a psychologist, if that's from a health perspective, is that a viable solution to kind of encourage the fidgeting part of it. But that sounds pretty interesting. The numbers that you put there, they're okay, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so we haven't actually consulted a psychiatrist yet. That is one part of our roadmap as well. At the moment, we've just sort of tried to delve into not trying to cure the fidgeting nature, but sort of channeling it in a different direction.
Yeah, we did interview some people who suffer from ADHD and who have experienced this journey. And based on the insights that we received from those interviews, we have designed this thing.
Yeah.
Gabby, I think my question is for you as someone who does more than tinker in the medical space. When we think about Fiducation and Happy Hearts, to you, are these two products that are pretty quick to market? Or are these things that would require like significant like FDA regulations and approvals and that sort of thing? Is there any information that you think you could provide to those two teams, since they are medical devices, but they're not invasive? So could they get to market pretty quickly with something like these?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't market them as medical devices. I would just say, toys. Basically, at CVS, the Fiducation device, and the other one, I see it more of a accessory for the existing devices.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't think that they have to be going through that That's my initial assessment. Whether or not, like I said, I think if you market it that way, they're fine. If you start marketing like a clinical tool of some sort, the Fiducation. Did I get it right?
It's a good name. It's catchy. That's how I see them at somewhere at CVS, Walmart, as under even maybe on the toys, kind of to start with. Happy Hearts, does that resonate with you guys when you think about who your customer is? Were you thinking a retail environment? Were you thinking doctors' offices, hospitals? What did you find through your customer interview process?
Go ahead, Joe.
All right. Yes, thank you, Katie. So we've actually been talking to an associate we know who works for Fish and Richardson, which is a patent law company in Philadelphia. And essentially, because we're not interfering with an already FDA approved device, and this isn't an accessory, it should be a smooth and easy process to get it to doctors' offices, because we feel that although it's a very useful tool, how many parents are actually taking a child's EKG every day, versus in a doctor's environment, they now have an option for an EKG that, while not as technically specific as a clinical machine, they're looking at a cost of $200 instead of $10,000 or more. So it's very much engineered and geared towards clinics and doctors' offices. And in that consideration, it complies with FDA and ISO standards.
Great. And did you guys, in your mind, kind of in your roadmap to what's next, would you be developing the software that went along with the hardware at some point, or does software for that kind of already exist to read the sensors that you would have incorporated into the hardware?
Yes, so it exists and the device works. It is a fully functional, currently it takes clinically usable EKGs. It's considered a pre-diagnostic EKG. So if a clinician uses it and they find something concerning, then they can proceed to a full EKG at like a hospital or somewhere equipped with one. But Dr. Adam Keene, who is the doctor we've been working with, the pediatric cardiologist, in the coming few weeks, we plan on having him test it in his office.
All right. Sorry, I don't mean to cut the judges off now. I know this. We could go down the trail here, and I'm sure you've got more questions. But I do want to make sure that we stay on time as best as possible. So sorry, Chelsea. You're good. All right. Next, we're going to go to the next group, Deco AR. And I believe that's how you pronounce it. If I pronounced it differently, please feel free to tell me.
Hello, hi. Yeah, it's actually decor.
Oh, all right.
Like decoration, but with AR.
Got it.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Okay, so hi everyone. Today we'll be discussing about our product Decor, which is an AR equipped decoration. So this is the team. My name is Vishal. Today I'm here with Mayank and Gagan, and thanks to our advisor Lou Lenzi. So let's jump right into it. So this is the problem which we are trying to tackle through our product. How might we make festivals and decorations more fun, personalized, and engaging at home? So this is our solution. So what we do is we take the existing traditional ornaments and integrate them with BLE technology, which gives precise precise coordinates of the ornament which it is integrated with, and then later the users can use the ornament as they use the ordinary decorations, that is to decorate the trees or their houses. And the magic happens when the users pull out their phones and look at the ornaments. They can see augmented reality animations revolving around the ornament because of the embedded technology in it. And this is how it might look like. So now moving on, let's talk about numbers. So as we can see, we'll be stepping into a $29 billion industry with our revolutionary product. And this is based on our research. An average American family spends around $1,000 per year just on decorations. And as you can see, from 2012 to 2020, there has been increase in the decoration market with a CAGR of 3.26%. So let's talk about competition right now. So first, let's talk about the traditional ornaments. So the look and feel is moderate. Creativity is not much. There's less emotional value, but ease of use. It's easy to use the traditional ornaments. You just have to hang it around. So next, there are smart LED lights such as Twinkly. So the look and feel is much more than the traditional ornaments. The creativity is more, the emotional value and the ease of use is also a bit more. Then comes our product, which gives a greater look and feel, greater creativity and greater emotional value, but the ease of use is a bit less because it's hard to integrate it with. Moving on.
Sorry to interrupt. Can you guys see our screens right now? We are moving through the slides, but I believe it's not showing up on your end. Is that, can you guys tell us what slide you can see right now? Oh, it's perfect. Cool. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that.
But we missed a lot of slides that you showed earlier.
Okay. Can I start over if that's possible?
We are short on time, so I probably cannot have you start completely over.
Okay, let's talk about sales and marketing. So our marketing strategy is first, we advertise the product through social media platforms such as Instagram and Snapchat. And we also make use of home decor podcasts, which can always brand a product. And then retail stores such as Walmart, Target, or Amazon can be used to sell our products. And we also plan to take our product to tech conferences like CES, where they talk about the new technologies such as augmented reality. So the sales funnel, how we plan to sell a product, as I mentioned before, we create online awareness through platforms such as Instagram and Snapchat, and we'll provide virtual demo of our application to the users so they can have first-hand experience about the technology. And then we'll set up a product in retail stores where the users can walk in and demo it themselves using the resources which we provide. And finally, when they like it, they can purchase it right there itself. Moving on, the business model. So the key partners for our product would be equipment manufacturers in countries like India and Malaysia, which will manufacture our products with using their raw materials. And for logistics, for transportation purposes, we'll be using air freight such as Forward Air, and also the retail stores which we'll be using to sell our products. The cost incurred for this would be the marketing cost, the production cost, distribution, and the customer service which we'll be providing. And we'll be generating revenue through retail sales and online marketplaces. So this is how the timeline looks like right now. It's divided into two phases. We are in phase 1 right now, where we are still conducting research and building the prototypes. Later on, after we have the prototype, we'll plan to validate it through usability testing, and that is our phase 1. For phase 2, the next steps would be production, marketing, and releasing the MVP. So right now, we are not sure about the cost. So the plan is The number of units will be manufacturing multiplied by the cost of production will be the final price or the funding which will be required. And below you can see the timeline for it. So we plan to complete phase 1 by March 2023. And after that, we'll enter phase 2. So this is what we ask for. We need $5,000 for research and prototype purposes, where we build the prototype and validate it. And for validation, we need $10,000. So total $15,000. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Decor. And sorry, I gave it away. I mean, the A and the R were capitalized. You kind of got it, but very interesting. Keep going, and I'll never have to decorate my house ever again. Thank you. The next group, Feel the Field.
Hello, everyone. Let us know if our slides stop and you can't see them. We constantly have different slides, and if you can't hear the audio. Hi, everyone. My name is Aditya, and I'm joined by my teammate Vaishnavi. We are design students who have worked with the visually impaired for more than a year now. And we also have our advisor on our team, Mohammed Al-Sharqawi. He's a professor at IUPUI, who's considered like an IoT expert at IUPUI. Vaishnavi, can you play the video? They can't hear the audio. They can't hear the audio. I'm sorry, we have some audio trouble. Just give us a few seconds.
Make sure that when you share your screen that you check mark share sound.
Yeah. Can you reshare the? Is it okay if we present towards the end? We'll figure this audio situation out.
Yeah, we have a little, yeah. Why don't we do this? Why don't we go to the next group, and then we'll come back to you. So the next group would be optimal nutrition.
Hello, everyone. We are Optimal Nutrition. My name is Christina Stankovic.
My name is Grisel Ordaz Hernandez.
My name is Nora Hussein.
My name is Caitlin Adams.
All right, so what is the problem? Well, the problem is that around half of the American population struggles with at least one chronic illness, whether it be heart disease, diabetes, hypertension, or even depression. And 80% of these chronic diseases are driven by poor lifestyle choices within the individual's diet and exercise. Now, 70% of these people are put on prescription drugs for their condition. And with these prescription drugs, side effects occur. These side effects decrease the individual's quality of life tremendously. Our solution to this epidemic is an app called Optimal Nutrition. This app is designed to help individuals struggling with chronic illness and side effects from their medication. Now you might be asking yourself, how will this app help the user? Well, the app creates a customized plan based on a medical survey that will help improve the quality of life, save money, and reduce the reliance and dependency on medication based on the user's condition, lifestyle, and current prescriptions. In regards to our target market, our total achievable market is 133 million Americans. Of that, our serviceable market is 91 million Americans. These are people aged 40 to 79 who are prescribed a drug for their condition. Our total obtainable market is 66 million Americans. These are the individuals that believe they themselves are the biggest role in preventing chronic illness. Our competition. We have three main competitors: Noom, Weight Watchers, and MyFitnessPal. What sets us apart is that we offer one-on-one consultations with registered nutritionists and tailor and inform the users on their medication and disease information and how they can reduce their side effects from their medication. I'm going to pass it off to Nora now, who will talk a little bit about our business model.
Okay, Christina. Our business model will be B2C, business to consumer, and consumers will be able to download the app for free and also create a free profile. Our free version will include a profile creation, which will include a medical questionnaire, and also include access to customized plan, calorie macro, and exercise tracking. Then consumers will be able to update to a premium version, which they can try for 90 days for free, and then it will be a $29.99 monthly subscription. So our premium version will include all the features of the free version, plus a one-on-one Zoom consultation with nutritionists, access to special recipes and exercise challenges, and also weekly check-ins with personal lifestyle coach, and lastly, a community chat room. I'll now pass it on to Caitlin to talk about marketing strategy.
Thanks, Nora. So if you're wondering where to find us, you can download our app today on the Apple App Store or the Android Google Play. And our marketing strategies include social media marketing, influencer marketing, paid customer campaigns, email marketing once you set up a profile in the app, and a landing page and blog included as well, along with a partnership with Cheerful Choices. And I'm going to pass it on to Grisel, who's going to talk about our revenue streams.
Thank you, Caitlin. So for our revenue stream, we ask you angel investors to be part of this adventure. As well, we're thinking of doing personal funding, partner with medium to small businesses for ads and sample offers, as well as subscription fees, lease our app to nutrition providers to increase our constant revenue. And now we'll go ahead and take questions, and thank you for being here.
Thank you to Optimal Nutrition. Feel the field, or are you ready to go again, or we can go to the next group and then come back to you?
No, we are ready.
Great, excellent.
Just a moment, I'm just. Can you guys?
Yep.
Okay, we can start.
Hi again, sorry for the trouble. My name is Aditya and this is Vaishnavi. We have design students who have worked with the visually impaired for more than a year. And we have our advisor, Mohammad Al-Sharkawi, who is the professor at IUPUI.
Silent now, as opposed to when the Saints have the ball. Oh, look at this run! What a run! Marshawn Lynch! Still on his feet! Has blockers now! He's dancing his way for the touchdown!
Let me begin by asking you this question. Why does one go to the stadium? Is it only to watch the match? No. It is to be a part of a collective experience, to be a part of the eruption of crowd on a pass meeting the right player. No matter who you are or where you come from, this can truly be a memorable experience. But sadly, current accessibility options for the visually impaired are limited and non-inclusive. They're limited to their sense of hearing or relying on volunteers to guide them through the game. According to the National Federation of Blind, there are approximately 7.2 million visually impaired Americans, and in our research, we found approximately 80% of that population follows the NFL. Our solution proposes to create a more inclusive experience for them. Let's take a look at a simulation of our idea. So here's the prototype of how the box, and these are the visually impaired hands. The dent on the surface is the feedback of football moving that you'll see in the video ahead. And the concentric circles that you'll also see are indicating vibrotactile feedback, which implies tackles. There's a live match-to-match.
Silent now, as opposed to when the Saints have the ball. Oh, look at this run! What a feet! Has blockers now. He's dancing his way for the touchdown.
So that was a superimposed live match, and our solution and how the blind participants can trace the ball movements and understand the different tackles and impacts involved in American football as they're moving along. Let's look at how does this work. Movement of the ball and the players are tracked with transmitters embedded in the ball and camera that captures the player movement. This data capture is transmitted wirelessly, and the movements are translated into coordinates, which are then translated on our box, which the visually impaired can feel. There were a few initial designs which we explored for the box, as you can see in the presentation. So embossed markings in Braille can denote the different numbers for those particular lines, and those lines can also be embossed. By embossed, I mean that could come a bit up on the surface, so the blind users can feel the lines as they're tracing the ball movement. Can we go on the next slide? So in order to make this design into a reality, we propose a 3-study plan. In the first study, we want to explore different scenarios in understanding how is the interaction with the different vibrotactile feedback for the blind participants. In the next study, we want to design and develop these feedback into something we call as translations. And in the third study, we want to validate the design prototype with the usability testing with blind participants. So let's go into the business model a bit. Who are we selling this to? We are selling this to stadiums such as AT&T Stadium, the Bank of America Stadium, or the Lucas Oil Stadium. Why would they want to buy it? It is to increase the brand value. In our research, we found out that a lot of younger crowd is not going to the stadiums anymore. And stadiums are constantly coming up with ways to increase this engagement with this demographic. They're coming up with different AR stadiums. We hope that creating not just an accessible, but also an immersive experience for a certain demographic would also relate to the younger crowd. And that would help bring them in. That can increase the ticket sale cost. What are the key activities that are required to make this a reality? Understanding the different tactile feedback, interviewing with blind participants to understand what works, partnerships, setting up an IoT system, hiring computer and electrical engineers to build the box. The resources required are a high-speed internet, hardware components, and raw material, the infrastructure to set up this box in the stadiums to test out, audio commentary in the future, thinking about scalability. The partners required for this would be football stadium, the broadcasting channels for the cameras, radio channels for the live commentary, and the Bosma Training Institute for the blind for the participants. Having said that, we are asking for $10,000 for the timeline of 6 months. It's divided into gift card for 20 blind participants with $80 per participant, coming up to $1,600 for a period of 6 months. Hiring the electrical and computer engineers for around $6,040 and an approximate hardware cost of $2,000. So approximately a total of $10,000. Our estimate of return of investment would be 100%. We are estimating $500 as the cost of building one device, divided into $260 for the software and $240 for the hardware, and selling it for $1,000. Thank you. So we ask you judges to help us in making the viewing experience not just accessible, but also immersive. We are open to questions.
Thank you, Feel the Field. So we're actually going to go ahead and go to the next presentation. I think after we get these two presentations finished, we'll have some time for questions. So next group. And by the way, thank you, Feel the Field. Yeah, I was actually texting with Barb while I was listening to your presentation. I love that you are considering creating an experience for people with various disabilities and allowing them the opportunity to experience sports. Yeah, I love it. Vent Easy. If you all are ready to go, you are next up.
All right, thank you. We are Vent EZ. Yeah, we are Malik, Logan, Sabrina, and Jacoby. Thank you for the time.
Imagine it being 1 week before your wedding day. You had the perfect venue selected, and you were becoming super excited for the big day, finally. This is until you receive an urgent phone call from your wedding planner that your venue has been flooded by a terrible pipe burst. They let you know the venue won't be up and running in time for your wedding date next week. What can you do? Vent Easy is your best solution. What is designed to be both a website and mobile app, Vent Easy gives anyone planning an event an easier way to book a venue and fast. Customers may log on to VentEasy and fill out preferences that are critical to picking the perfect venue. Types of venues that you can explore on the site include weddings, restaurants, hotels, graduations, birthdays, and any other party you can think of. Once preferences are filled out, the customer can view suggested venue options and compare their pricing and date availabilities.
Okay, so as far as our market size, the potential market is a concert and events promotion industry worth about 20.4 billion. Our target market will be the rental services, food, beverages, and merchandise, as well as contracted live performances industry. This is worth about 6.77 billion. And then our initial market is going to be more the young women looking for wedding locations, bridal showers, baby showers, etc. And we approximated this at about 2.51 billion. Our competition, the largest players in the industry, have a focus on live concerts and performances. Some of these include Live Nation Entertainment, Caesars Entertainment, and the Anschutz Corporation. We will have, oh, sorry, my cat's getting, okay. VentEasy will have a much more easy to use application on an iPhone. It'll be made for everyday people rather than other big corporations. We will have no event discrimination, no matter how big or small. No application for customers. Once they are signed up for the app on the iPhone, they can use it how they please. And then all events planned through VentEasy will be our #1 priority.
All right, and now on to our business model. Customers can log on to VentEasy for free at any time of the day. Customers will be able to select the venue online for a specific date and then have 2 options. If you really want event easy, you could have the additional option to hire a event planner, which event planners and venue owners will pay VentEasy a monthly subscription fee of $25 a month to work as a third party. And then also, if you already know what you're doing and you already have your event plan and you already know what accommodations you would like to receive, you could go ahead and just book the venue yourself with ease. And then VentEasy will collect a 5% fee from each venue.
All right, thank you, Malik. Now that we've learned more about VentEasy, it's time to get down to brass tacks. We're here for the money. All right, we're asking for $25,000 initially. $15,000 of that will be devoted to website app development. Most of that will be going towards creating the MVP. We'll be doing some modeling before we actually put anything in a program. The rest will be devoted towards streamlining once the program's actually started. And then $5,000 will be devoted towards creating partnerships with new customers, both customers as well as event spaces, because you need event spaces in order for customers to be interested in. And then $5,000 will be going towards creating partnerships with event planners, as well as large event spaces that we like to use regularly. We'll be doing this initially in Indianapolis. We would like to do a larger rollout later once we've done further beta testing and research. But that's VentEasy. We appreciate your time. Please let us know if you guys have any other questions.
Thank you, VentEasy. Appreciate the time. Very interesting concept. I'm not familiar with the booking space or event tourism in that regard, but yeah, very interesting. And I know that you brought up some very stressful situations that some people do experience and having event spaces be no longer available. So thank you for your time. The last group for the evening, what the balls here.
Yeah, hi. We'll just share screen. Hi, so we are team What the Ball Hears. This is our team. I am Gauri, the UX researcher. We also have Divya, who is our UX researcher as well as developer. Other members on our team are Priyanjali, our UX designer, and Yash, our ML engineer. So for our problem statement is how might we enhance the experience of a basketball game for the average NBA fan and make it inclusive for visually impaired fans as well. The way we expect to go about this solution is first there will be sensors that will be put inside the basketball for enhanced AV input. These sensors will gather audio from the game, that is like gameplay sounds, conversation between the players, things like that, and use 5G to transmit this information instantly to a backend. On the user side, this information will be available through a mobile application, which will allow them to toggle between different kinds of audio, that is commentary, gameplay, and audience. This we expect to give to the users through a spatial audio system. The reason we went with spatial audio is because during our research, we also looked at tactile graphics, and we realized that they are extremely expensive, and an average visually blind person cannot afford them based on their income. Another thing is the application uses inbuilt accessibility functions that mobile OSs already have to make it easier for the visually blind to interact with the application. For our total addressable market, an analysis by Top Sports indicates that there are around 400 million basketball fans worldwide. Of this, and there are around 12 million people with low or no vision in the USA who are more likely to be inclined towards the sport. This makes our total addressable market around approximately 400 million people for this application.
So for our competition, when we did some competitive analysis, we realized there's not much competition in this space. However, right now, NBA is working on adding mics to the floors to enhance the overall audio experience. But this requires around 40 microphones per arena and 2,727 feet of cabling. So by embedding the sensor or a microphone inside the basketball, we'll be reducing the number of microphones needed to one, and no cabling required as much. And the solution kind of depends on machine learning and Internet of Things to recognize the location of the ball on the court, as well as do the noise reduction and all of those features to enable a smooth experience for the fans. So for our business model, so essentially our customer segment, as we mentioned previously, are our basketball fans and the visually impaired fans. And the value proposition we'll be giving them is a more inclusive fan base and an enhanced audio experience. With an additional benefit of being able to listen to the gameplay sounds as well as the conversation between the players, which based on our research is something a lot of the fans are very excited to hear. The activities you need to ensure that this solution works is the brand tie-ups, data analysis, sense integration with the key partners, the sponsors, sports agencies, like you have ESPN and the broadcasting networks as well, the athletes, because we need to ensure that they are comfortable with their conversations being broadcasted, and the ball manufacturer to ensure that the ball is made with the sensor inside. And the key resources we need are definitely the basketball with the sensors, the 5G network, and the infrastructure. So for the cost structure, most of the cost would be due to the hardware costs and the machine learning, and for the machine learning processing power, as well as manufacturing of the basketball and the cost of app development. Additionally, we also know when we host the application on Google Play Store or App Store, it would require some amount of money to be spent, but we do not want to make it a paid application because charging for an app which is also catering visually impaired kind of seem a little unethical for us. So for the revenue streams, it's mainly the ticketing costs for the NBA tickets, the app monetization from the downloads, and advertisements and percentage profit from headphone sales for the companies which provide spatial audio features. So our marketing would be mainly through social media during basketball games, as well as ad streaming during the live games. And our sales would be on the Play Store and App Store. Again, to reiterate, we will not be making it a paid application. But NBA also has a concept of virtual tickets where they have they sell tickets for viewing the game virtually. So with addition of $20 premium amount, they can access all the features that we will be providing, and also sales from spatial audio providers and ads through them. So with the 40 million fan base that we have, which we are targeting, considering the $20 premium as well, we have around 800 million of revenue generated. So for the milestones, we are currently in our exploratory and feasibility research phase, and we have started the prototyping. We are planning to complete the prototyping and usability testing with the visually impaired as well as the other fans by the end of next year and start the app development. So we believe that there will be some amount of time to make sure that we implement the app for the backend and the front end as well. So we're expecting that to take around a year, and final product release onto the app stores to be in the year 2025. So for our budget, because it's an IoT-based system, we calculated the AWS charges, which is around $350 per month. And for a year, it would be around 4.2K and we had like around $800 as like for unseen charges. Hardware and manufacturing costs around $10,000 which includes the cost of manufacturing the basketball and tie up with the manufacturers as well. Followed by 5G internet, because that's also something which is not available everywhere right now. So for the development purposes, we might need around $5,000 with a total of $25 as our budget and our ask.
And because our application is kind of like an audio prototype, we are pasting a link in the chat that maybe our speakers would not be able to relate as well as your own speakers might. So if you guys are listening to like the link that we have just sent, if you can see if the ball bounces onto the right side of the court, your speakers will be playing from the right side, whereas if it's on the left side of the ball, your court, your speakers will be playing from the left side. And that's kind of how the application, like how the solution is envisioned.
So because of the side with which like, because spatial audio, you can recognize exactly at what point of the court the basketball is at and what exactly is happening during the gameplay. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, What the Ball's here. Appreciate you taking the time with us this evening. Again, another very interesting idea that can help multiple people enjoy this sporting experience. So appreciate that time. We've got a few more minutes, actually about 3 minutes left to 7. Judges, if you have any specific questions that you would like to ask of the last few teams, now is your opportunity.
Yes, I had a question for exactly these applications for visually impaired people. Are there other solutions on the market that made you think that a tactile solution would be, okay for their community, or this would be the first concept that a tactile couple with a hearing experience would be a good idea? I'm just wondering if you did research.
Yeah, so in our work with visually impaired, we saw that they really value the sense of touch, and a lot of times because we use mostly 2-dimensional screens. So most of even the phone companies such as Apple exploit the sense of hearing more, and they have all of these developed senses as well. So not a lot of companies do that. And another thing which we observed in our research was in stadiums, it's either you listen to live commentary, or we also saw in the sport of soccer, volunteers actually sit down with them and there's a field that they guide them through using their hands. So a lot of like sporting stadiums for soccer have done that. And there are, talking about like our competition, there are, what our concept has been developed for the sport of soccer, already developed by multiple companies. There's companies such as Footbraille, Field of Vision, then Field. They've developed that already, but there has been no work done, surprisingly, for American football. And if you look at both the sports, the reason why we were exploring like different sports, but the reason why we stuck on American football is, if you look at soccer, it's more about the tactics involved. So it's not just the player who has the ball, but it's also the player who's making a run or the kind of formations that they have. With American football, that also may be true, but there's also a lot of brute strength that is required. There are a lot of tackles, which we thought as design students would be a great like HCI project for studying the interactions. So what kind of tactile feedback could denote for what kind of play or what kind of tackle, how many people are coming, things like that. Does that answer your question? Okay.
I just had something to add to what Aditya mentioned as well. So along with just tactile graphic, which he mentioned, they also have things like refreshable braille, which they have, which ensures that with fast movement, they can recognize what's happening on the field. But the problem with the entire setup is it's a little expensive. And because of that, it's not very inclusive, or it's not affordable, which reduces the inclusivity of tactile graphic. But I do agree with what he mentioned. So currently, people do depend on like a companion with them at the stadium, or they depend on like hearing aids in order to understand what's happening during the game. And that's one of the reasons why we move towards, and they're also actually very heavy to carry, which is another thing which we noticed. That's kind of why we move towards spatial audio, because along with the sense of touch, they also have a sense of hearing, which is heightened. And there are theories on something called echolocation, through which they can recognize exactly what an object is at different locations in order to identify what is happening. And that's kind of why for our team, we kind of went more towards the audio route over a tactile graphic route. But I do agree with what Aditya is saying, that tactile graphics actually, they have some amount of companies investing in it. And with a comparatively slower paced sport, it's something which will be feasible, though it would need learnability as well from the visually impaired to identify exactly what's happening.
I just had some things to clarify based on what Divya said. So refreshable brails, I just wanted to clarify that we're not suggesting refreshable brails. So refreshable brails are usually like, imagine dots, and they come up as that sentence is, as the person wants to read that sentence. So it's basically braille that comes up. And the reason why it's expensive is because like we saw it's around $20,000 or $5,000 if it's a single sentence, but we're not doing that. And another thing I wanted to clarify was that we don't aim to eliminate their sense of hearing. We actually want to support the audio live commentary with the tactile display, with the tactile feedback. And the third thing about like the box being heavy to carry, that's why we want to sell it to the stadiums directly, so that they can have a dedicated space at the stadium itself where they can keep the box.
Chelsea, you had a question.
You think I'd get used to unmuting myself by now?
No, none of us have.
More than a question, I think just global feedback, if you would be interested, Christian, to kind of round out.
Please do.
Barb and I were chatting while you guys were answering these questions, and I can honestly say that I learned something from every single presentation today. So that is really, really refreshing, and kudos to all of the groups for really hacking away at very unique problem sets. So kudos to you guys for that, really attractive presentations as well. So kudos to you there. One of the things that I would encourage everyone to do is, when you think about your problems, and if you haven't heard this from Barb, I know she's got the skill set and I know she's done it before, is exploring potentially using a tool like a business model canvas to keep iterating on your potential solutions. So it sounds like everyone's really married to it. It's going to be this. It's this physical thing, we've built it. It's this SaaS thing, we've built it. But continue to iterate with things that you learn in the real world. So you've got really incredible advisors. Of course, use them and their expertise, but don't be afraid to get out into the communities and out into the people that you serve. I went off camera for a little bit on one of the presentations because I had someone in the room that is a massive NBA fan and actually has a family member that is sight impaired. And I said, oh, you've got to listen to this. This is something that you could really could connect with. So get out and talk to those people, not just the people experienced in the actual hardware or the technology that you're developing, because that's instantly validating, right? Make sure that you're talking to the sight impaired. Make sure that you're talking to people that have failed Noom 1 million times, or talking to the people whose wedding did get canceled because of a pipe burst, and really doing substantial customer interview to really validate what you're trying to develop.
Yeah, great feedback. Thanks, Chelsea. Thanks everyone too. I don't know. Anybody else have any parting comments? Chris, we're kind of at the end here. We're a little over. We
are a little over on time. Yep. I don't know if judges have any questions. I mean, I think also I would just encourage you, based on even what Chelsea said, keep going with these ideas. Obviously, the fact that we consider these ideas to be unique, you're trying to solve very unique problems that we have not heard before. That means there's validity in that. But customer discovery is crucial, right, to the process. So, but keep working on these ideas. There's a couple of other opportunities we might send your way as well coming up. But thanks so much for taking the opportunity tonight to present. Put yourself out there. This is not easy to do. You're live online right now. It's permanent. It's going to be online for all of time. Maybe not. Who knows? But yeah, we know it's a risk. So thank you so much to all the presenters tonight. Thank you for the judges taking the time this evening to be with us and to evaluate these and provide some good feedback and questions. So with that said, we hope everybody has a great evening.
Yeah, tell your friends to go out, check out the video and vote, because we've got an audience winner too. So audience winners can win some money. So
yeah, August 24th. Go to jagstart.iupui.edu.
Yeah.